And then the last main idea I want to talk about is something that comes more from the work that I did with my colleague Jeff Pfeffer on the knowing-doing gap. And this sort of comes from the realization that we had that in innovation and a whole bunch of other management practices, that we kept running into situations where people would seem to know what to do to make their organizations more creative, but it wouldn't actually happen. And they would act like talking about it was enough. They wouldn't actually have to do it. And the way that I got especially interested in this was, I guess about 10 or 11 years ago, after they made me a full professor at Stanford and there was only so many things they could do to me, I started doing a little bit more consulting. And I actually did my first consulting job with the top management team of a Fortune 100 company, so it was a big company. And they were doing this amazing thing that was actually even worse than what the Stanford faculty do typically. And like we have like no real deliverables, we have a ridiculous amount of job security, and we tend to make decisions and not implement them at times. But these folks, they kept making decisions and not implementing them. And they were big decisions. One of the decisions was putting the name of their product on their product, which seems like an important thing to do. The other one, more related to creativity, is that their product development organization was organized into functional silos. So things like industrial design, engineering, design for manufacturability, marketing, things like that. And so they were in these functional silos, and there would be these huge teams of like 70 or 80 people on every project, and every person seemed to, the definition of being on a team was you sort of returned half your emails. The recommendation was made, or not the recommendation, the decision was made to move to more project-based, smaller, focused teams where people had 100% of their time devoted to it, or at least 50%. They kept making those decisions over and over again, and then they never actually implemented them. And I think it was no accident, by the way, that not all members, but many members of the senior team of this organization were populated by people who used to be management consultants. Because with all due respect to companies like McKinsey and Bain and the like, sometimes those people make good managers, but for the most part, the way you make money at McKinsey and Bain is you don't implement stuff, you actually just tell people to do it and hope it actually gets done when you leave. And when the clients don't do it, of course, you can blame them for not implementing it. When you become a manager, you actually have to make sure that things get done. And of course, in a startup, if you don't do stuff, you're dead like immediately. So it becomes more apparent than when you're running a huge company. So why does this thing happen? Why does talk substitute for action? The big reason, the headline is talk happens now. You can tell whether somebody's a smart talker. Whether they're any good at actually turning knowledge into action is a whole other sort of thing in a different set of skill sets, a different kind of skill set. And then some organizations, especially organizations, by the way, that move people around too much, make this problem worse by simply promoting the smart talkers as opposed to the people who actually make sure that things get done.